The view of Gwanghwamun Square standing majestically under Seoul's bright blue sky. What do you think? It's really amazing, isn't it? I think you could use this straight away in a Seoul promotional brochure. I asked for everything from the roof tiles to the granite fortress walls, and even to include Manhattan in the front and photos of tourists, and it even captured those unique details of tourists taking pictures. This is no joke. This time, I'll show you an apartment interior design. That lighting from earlier, the sofa, rug chair, even this plant pot. Do you see how even the shadows are depicted? I can't even begin to describe this level of detail. Everyone, Gemini 3.0 has finally been released. With the previous Nano Banana, it was like, wow, this thing draws so well, we don't even need a camera anymore. If that was the level before, now it's like having your own personal designer who does amazing work. The results are truly astonishing. You'll probably be blown away when you see it. In the past, there were tasks that were either completely impossible with AI or required painstaking effort in Photoshop, working on them bit by bit. Now, all of those can be solved with just a single line of command. Today, I want to thoroughly test and show you, step by step, how the features officially announced by Google are actually implemented and what differences there are when using them in Korean. The official materials say things like evolution from randomness to control, but that's pretty complicated, right? Let's go over the 4 major changes one by one. So the first change, now AI learns and then draws pictures based on that knowledge. In the past, if you asked, show me how to make kimchi, it would draw a picture, but it couldn't illustrate the process of making kimchi. But now, by seamlessly combining with Google's extensive information search capabilities, it can intelligently create visually rich images containing detailed infographic information based on various things like comprehensive recipe steps, clear instructions for making something, or even up-to-the-minute weather information. Now, the second and perhaps most welcome advancement. There has been a tremendous change in the text aspect. When we tried generating images before, things like Korean signboards or letters written in Korean were really hard to get right, and even the alphabet would often be incorrect. But now, not only the alphabet, but also Korean is rendered very accurately and precisely. This is the second improvement. The third is that consistency and control features have greatly improved. What this means is previously, every time we generated an image, the face would change, so it was difficult to create images with a long-term storyline. Thank you. It used to be a bit difficult to make something with a consistent main character, but those issues have been greatly improved. Now, it can remember up to 5 faces exactly, so generating consistent images is possible. You can also control things like lighting or make very detailed, minor adjustments within the same image. So now we no longer need to painstakingly edit each detail in Photoshop. You'll probably be even more amazed when you see the results. And finally, the fourth point. So many people have asked if there's a way to remove the logo. Especially for professionals, there have been a lot of comments saying that they need to remove the Gemini logo at the bottom of the image in order to use it, but that logo can't be deleted. In the Pro and Standard versions, the logo remains, but in the Ultra version, that is for those who spend over 300,000 won per month, the logo can be removed. But it's not permanently removed. If you look at the 50,000 won bill, you know how there's an identification code that's invisible to the naked eye. Similarly, in the Ultra version, the visible mark disappears and only an invisible mark is embedded. That's the update I wanted to share. Now, from here on, let's actually do a test. I'll enter a prompt into Gemini 3.0 and show you what kind of image results it produces. The first change is its reasoning ability. It means that before drawing, it fact-checks and then creates the image. Let me go ahead and enter the prompt right now. For reference, the way you use Gemini Nano Banana is the same. Here, you just type your question to Gemini, click Create Image, and the image is generated right away. First, reasoning ability. Do you know Monstera? I asked it to create a practical care infographic for our house plant, so I could print it out and attach it to the Monstera plant. I also requested that it organize the key information in an easy-to-read way with icons. I told the AI to arrange the information in a logically appropriate layout. So let me show you the result that came out like this. Ta-da! I only entered the prompt once and it generated an image filled with such amazing information. I didn't provide any other images. I just entered the prompt, that's all. So as you can see, it says the plant's origin is the South American tropical rainforest, and then there's information about light. It even includes an image saying it's a bright semi-shaded area that avoids direct sunlight. So it also mentions that near a window is good, but you should adjust with a curtain, and actually that's not information I provided. And it also says to check the proper temperature and humidity and when to water it and what to be careful about. If you look at this, I only gave a small amount of information, but this Gemini searched for more and instantly included it all in the image. This amazing ability to supplement information has now been given to Gemini. Now, there's absolutely no need for us to search for things one by one and ask it to create a specific image. Let's take a look at the second example. Here's the second one. It's about order and logic. I'm going to ask if it understands the recipe process for making pork kimchi stew, which is a soul food for Koreans. I asked it to create a 4-panel comic on how to make pork kimchi stew. So I made a request for what should be in the first panel. And I also asked it to write the step number and a brief explanation in Korean at the bottom of each panel. Shall we take a look at the result? The result was truly amazing. You can see that every step is depicted in detail just as I requested. In the first panel, you can see me stir-frying red pork and kimchi together in a pot, right? I asked for this to be shown, and the text is included nicely. In the second panel, you can see water being poured in and the stew boiling vigorously, right? Here, since I said to make it boil vigorously, you can see that the fire has been changed so that it's boiling hard. And in the third panel, ingredients are being added. Specifically, tofu and green onions are being put in at the end. I especially asked for the edges of the tofu to be clearly defined, and you can see that the edges are sharp and distinct. And the fourth panel shows the finished stew bubbling and boiling. However, when I asked to show it boiling in an earthenware pot, the pot was changed. So this is the completed 4-panel comic. You can see that Jamin actually remembered, understood, simulated, and then drew this process in order. That's why I said that it's not just someone who draws pictures, but a designer has emerged. And if you look at the third example, you'll be surprised again. I asked for a drawing in the style of traditional Korean folk art with today's weather as the theme. I provided the weather information, the visual mood, and the key elements. It turned out really well, didn't it? If you look here, it was created well in the minhwa, Korean folk painting style, and it accurately displays today's weather, clear, current temperature 15 degrees in Korean. I really liked that it used a font that perfectly matches the minhwa style. It said it was a brush script font, and it used a brush script that was neither too much nor too little, just right. Anyone can see that this is in fact a minhwa style, isn't it? So the tiger here isn't a realistic tiger, but one depicted in the minhwa style. Going beyond simply conveying information, the fact that it understands this cultural context and implements it in the design elements is truly an amazing result. And doesn't the overall tone really go well with the clear weather vibe? There are a lot of minhwa paintings with bold lines and vivid colors, but this one uses pastel tones, giving it an emotional feel that matches the weather so well. I thought it was an amazing result. Since I'm currently using the Pro version, this logo is still active for me. For those using the Ultra version, you probably can't see this logo. Now, I'll show you some results that focus a bit more on text. Previously, it actually felt a bit awkward to use Korean itself, and while it wasn't impossible to make modifications with Korean, you had to run it several times to get good results. But this time, when I tested it, I got good results in just one try. This really saves a lot of time. So then, I didn't just create plain text. I tested whether I could use this text as a design element. In other words, whether I could do what designers do. Let me show you this. First, I drew the scene of Gwanghwamun Square standing majestically under the bright blue sky of Seoul. There you can see the tiled roof and the massive gate, a Gwanghwamun. But then I asked it to visualize the 3 Hangul characters for Gwanghwamun there. I didn't want artificial looking letters, but rather I had a lot of requests, like asking for something designed by Gaudi. I asked it to create a surreal architectural photo where the structure of the tiled roof and stone wall naturally forms the shape of the letters. Let's take a look at the result. What do you think? Isn't it amazing? If Gwanghwamun Square actually looked like this, it would be truly astonishing. Honestly, at this level, I think you could just use it straight away in a Seoul promotional brochure. With people present and all the unique features of Gwanghwamun preserved, from the roof tiles to each and every granite wall, it's really incredible detail. And I asked for a Gaudi style to be reflected, and the result is truly astonishing, as if it were created by a real architect. Honestly, if you commissioned a designer for something like this, it wouldn't even turn out like this, and it would cost a fortune. But with text-based design, things like this, logos, and more can all be done at once. And I asked for the Haiti statue and photos of tourists to be added in the front, and I was really amazed to see that even the details unique to tourists taking pictures were captured. It really feels like I actually went to Gwanghwamun and took this myself. They even captured the design of the castle gate here. This is no joke. Let's take a look at the second case. This time, I tested whether it could capture the texture of text. There are so many elements that make up letters, but when you bring out the texture, even the same text can look completely different. It's a design element, right? So I tried to see if it was possible to create a design where the bark of Korean pine trees and thick tree trunks are intertwined. I tested whether it could actually render the very difficult Korean characters from deep-rooted tree. I also requested that each stroke of the letter have a realistic feel, like resin or moss stuck to it, or something along those lines. Wow, and this is the result. Wow, this really looks like not just resin and moss, but doesn't it also have that vibe you get at the beginning of a drama, like when the title Deep-Rooted Tree appears and the credits roll in? It feels like a poster version of a drama title you might have seen in a movie or TV series. Each texture is brought to life, and even the phrase deep-rooted tree, writing something like root, is really difficult, you know. If it were the old Gemini AI or Nano Banana, I would never have been able to do this. Or if I had tried, I would have had to attempt it 10 times. But this time, I got the results in just one go. Even the letters are well represented, and the background image behind them is truly amazing. So this time, it's possible to capture even these detailed textures. So I decided to try something a bit more challenging. This time, I wanted to see if it could understand the meaning of each character. So I asked it to design the letters. The given text is like this. Slurp. And I requested a total of 4 of these shiny round ones, and I will take a look at the results to see if they capture the feeling of each letter well. Have you seen it? It looks like it's going to explode at any moment, right? Grr, this almost just flows down, right? Shiny, round, these kinds of fonts, honestly, this is really the domain of designers. Even things like this. Even for designers, it's not like they can just whip something like this up in one go, but understanding the feeling that each word conveys and drawing it out, this AI is capturing even the nuances of the sounds those words make. And finally, this is a truly amazing feature, the storyboard function. I'm going to ask it to create a storyboard in the currently popular Joseon zombie genre style. And for people like me, whose main job is video production, or for writers and planners, this feature will be incredibly useful. I requested a total of 4 panels, and for each panel, I specified in detail what I wanted. I also asked for handwritten Korean captions at the bottom. What I was most eager to test in the text was Korean. It handles English well, but why is it so bad at Korean? It used to really bother me, but it's improved a lot. As you can see, the 4-panel storyboard was created in no time. And it's not just that it was made quickly, the level of detail will really surprise you. In the first panel, even though I didn't actually add any text, it came up with things like Night of Joseon, they have awakened. I asked it to draw monsters running across tiled roofs, and it matched the concept perfectly. The overall color scheme and the art style really capture the feel of a zombie story. For the second panel, I asked for a close-up of a scholar wearing a gat with a terrified expression. The close-up turned out really well, didn't it? The third panel is of a scholar running away down an alley. It seems more realistic to show the person running away from behind rather than from the front. And for the fourth panel, I asked for a close-up of the zombie's red eyes. So while the scholar is desperately running away in the front, the zombies are waiting for him. The 4 storyboards are seamlessly connected, and the drawings are perfect as well. The story is perfect, and you can see that the overall flow has come out flawlessly too. I can just download it like this and use it easily, right? It seems like we've entered an era where anyone can become a film director. Were you surprised after watching up to this point? There's something even more amazing waiting for you. It's the consistency party. Let me show you something fun. Let's say we couldn't all get together for Chuseok, the Korean holiday. In that case, you don't have to meet in person. You can create a photo like this instead. I requested, to celebrate Chuseok, please create a group photo of the whole family gathered happily in the living room, all smiling. But don't just make it up. Use the faces of these 5 people exactly as I provided. So I asked that all 5 of these people be included and that their facial features and ages be accurately maintained. With that, I requested a photo set in the living room of a typical Korean apartment. And this is the result that came out. What do you think? Does this look like Grandpa Lee Soon-jae's style? Does this look like a Korean living room? Do you think everyone's features have been accurately represented? I can't say it's perfectly identical, but isn't it almost like Grandpa Lee Soon-jae? It really captures the vibe quite well. Actually, I originally included a prompt asking for a full moon in the background, but the moon came out way too round, so I ended up removing that prompt. So when it comes to AI image generation, what's important is to try generating the image, and if something looks too artificial or AI-like, you can get much more natural results by removing those elements from the prompt. Honestly, you could believe it if someone said this was a real family photo. In the past, these kinds of details would fall apart one by one, but now you can see that things like the fingers and facial expressions are rendered very naturally. Even the way the legs are crossed looks just like how real moms cross their legs. The composition is also really well done. Let me show you a second example. This time, I'll show you an apartment interior design. I've actually shown this to you before. Nano Banana could originally do this, but it was a bit lacking in rendering it accurately. So the details were always a bit off, but now it's rendered perfectly. There are some items I provided in advance. First, remember the shape of the rug on the floor. Second is this chair, third is this brown sofa, fourth is the Monstera plant, and fifth is the lighting. And all of these things combined into one is exactly this. The lighting from earlier, the sofa, the rug, the chair, even this plant pot, all have been recreated with precise placement. In addition, to create a cozy atmosphere, even the lighting here has been set up. Originally, this light wasn't turned on, but now you can see that it's lit up. Before, when you did it like this, the brown color would be represented well, but things like the brown legs here not reflecting the original black color and instead showing as silver, there were some disappointing aspects like that, but now it's really well represented. If you look here, can you see even the shadow on the legs has been rendered? I can't even begin to describe this level of detail. The shadows are all rendered according to the angle of the incoming light. It's almost indistinguishable from a photograph. Now we can actually try arranging this in our interior design. If I buy this sofa, will it suit my home? You don't have to worry about things like that anymore. If you take a picture and ask it to add this sofa, you can instantly see at a glance how it would look and whether it would suit your home. I think interior designers will find this even more useful. And now I'm going to try making a movie poster. I provided a photo, and I asked it to turn it into a movie poster style. You'll be really amazed when you see this. Even people who used to design posters can now just do it for fun. You could just make about 10 of them and send them to the company. Let me show you. This is a movie poster made using that photo just now. The family business. What's really amazing about this is that both the English and Korean are accurately reflected, and the lighting and the text itself aren't all the same size. The letters get smaller and larger, which gives it a more cinematic feel. And the persimmon tree comes out looking really eerie too. Do you get that sense from this poster, that it feels both warm and yet like a thriller at the same time? I definitely feel that way. It's so dramatic, with the shadows stretching out long, and these kinds of expressions are captured so well, almost like a photograph. I thought you could use this as a poster right away, and it would be perfect. In the past, to do something like this, you'd have to take a bunch of photos, try out all the arrangements, and do a lot of fixing. But now, you don't even need to do any Photoshop touch-ups. If you ask it, it'll do the touch-ups for you right away. So now, making posters like this has become instantly possible. The Korean expressions are 100% perfect. Wouldn't it be really fun to make something like this with a friend's photo for their birthday? And now I've brought in a movie actor. This man's photo, it's actor Ryu Jun-yeol, right? I'm going to try changing this actor's photo to make it more dramatic so it can be used directly on a poster. Let me try requesting the prompt to change it to a noir style. But this time what I want to test is changing things like the style, facial expression, and colors. The result that came out is this. It's still actor Ryu Jun-yeol, but now his eyes are blazing with intensity. This is truly a photo in a noir style, as if he's dreaming of revenge and it was just created. There's no need to go out and take a separate profile picture. The actor's face has been recreated perfectly. Honestly, to do something like this, you'd normally need a makeup artist, the actor, a photographer, and someone to do the retouching. There are so many steps involved, but now you can get results like this instantly. If I were a professional, I'd pay the 300,000 won fee to remove the logo and use it. Of course, regular people shouldn't use celebrity photos like this because of copyright issues, so you need to be careful and not use them. But the point is, you can do this with your own photo, and this is what's possible now. Let's say I took a photo, but I want to change it from day to night. Or maybe I want to change up the style a bit during editing. Of course, that's possible. Let's try changing how this fox looks if it were photographed at night. So I asked it to turn the red fox in the snowy field from broad daylight into a winter night, and I requested the color tone I wanted. And here's the result I got. Not only did the fox appear, but the photo was changed to a blue tone, making it look like it was taken at night. It even captured the fox's nose. It even depicted the fox's breath coming out of its nose. Did I ever ask for breath to be added? That's not the case. I just asked for the overall color tone and the night sky, but the AI added extra elements it thought were needed for the photo. And those additions fit the context really well. You can really feel how smart it's become. The sparkling effect is brought to life, even on the ground, and you can see that the shadows are rendered accurately. And finally, let me show you one last result that will truly surprise you. Now, I'm going to change the focus of the camera. What I mean is, I have a photo of this girl, and I want to shift the focus to the front. And I also want to change just the shape of this flower a bit. So let me try making that request. I said, focus on the white daisy flower in the front and change the focus. So white daisy flowers that weren't there before appeared, and the focus shifted to this area. Usually when we talk about where to set the focus, that's actually a camera technique, or it's a matter of the camera's capabilities, but now you can perfectly create this effect on an existing photo. If this is possible, I feel like it covers most of what we wanted to do with photography. So I'm telling you this amazing fact. Even the domain of experts who change focus like this can now be achieved with just a single prompt command. And I'm not exaggerating. Studio quality results are now possible with this 30,001 Gemini tool. So I really hope you all give it a try, and those of you who mainly used existing images will definitely notice this change. If you only used it occasionally, you might not notice, but since I use it often, I could really feel how much the results have improved. In fact, it has also greatly improved my work efficiency. The very first thought I had after trying this out was, I need to go buy Google stock right now. That was my thought, and it just shows how quickly Google has managed to roll out updates to Gemini, and although it's a bit unfortunate, unlike ChatGPT, these updates seem to be producing really great results. At one point, the development of ChatGPT was actually met with some indifference from people, but Gemini, on the other hand, seems to be gaining popularity and receiving positive reviews as it continues to improve. But of course, that's just my opinion. After trying it out yourselves, you might have noticed some changes, or maybe you found certain aspects of the update to be more inconvenient. There are definitely parts like that for some people. So if you have any thoughts like that, feel free to leave a comment and share your experiences. Let's exchange our opinions with each other. I'm also curious about what changes you've noticed in terms of images and how you're using them in your work or even in your daily life. So let's share our experiences together, and as I use this Gemini 3.0 Pro more, I'll also share any new results or discoveries I make here on this channel. The 13 test prompts I used today will be posted separately in the comments, so if you want to try them out, feel free to do so. Of course, I created all the prompts in Korean, so you can use them in Korean without any problem, and since anyone can try them, I really hope you give it a shot. With this AI, it's not like you'll suddenly become an expert just by using it once today. If you consistently incorporate it into your daily life or work, you'll experience the updates and improvements firsthand, and eventually, you'll become really proficient at using AI. So this is also something I'm continuously studying, and even though it's challenging, I keep testing and exploring this field. That's it for today's video. I'll be back next time with even more useful AI information. This has been online so far. Thank you.